Welcome, Cheryl. Welcome. One sec. Coming right back, guys. All right, here we go.
I'm waking up. I'm waking up.
All right, come on.
I'm still waking up.
Join my show, Scar. And Sabrina, you are just trouble. You won't let me do my show, will you? What's up, guys? Good morning. It is Single Shot Sunday. I'm checking in, and I've got a cat that's crazy. All right, so let's see on the agenda here. We have some military business to attend to. Mr. Stolen Valor, Grandmaster J, aka, pull up my notes here on this guy. He's a piece of work, truly piece of work. All right, so this guy, his name is John J. Fitzgerald Johnson. He's a militia leader of the Not F Around clique, crew, whatever you want to call them. I don't know. Code name Treehouse Club. Anyways, they're a militia group who, well, put it this way, they're pretty good at fucking up. That's all I have to say when it comes to guns. They were in, let's see here. Here we go. Here's his record. And I'll post these later too as well. But he's got an Overseas Service Medal for 2000, Army Good Conduct Medal, United States, 1997, two Army Commendation Medals, April of 1995. Let's see, Army Equal Opportunity Leadership Medal, 1994, Army Achievement Medal, February of 1994, Non-Commissioned Officer Professional Development Medal. I never even heard of that one before. I'm going to call bullshit. I'm not in the Army. Southeast Asia Medal in 92, Kuwait Liberation Medal in 91, U.S. National Defense Service Medal in 91, which, you know, that's your participation trophy. Basically, whenever you enlist, you get one of those. They do pause and put a break in when they hand them out from time to time. Let's see here, but he was in, if I recall, he was only in the National Guard. He was actually discharged. Let's see here. All right, let's see here. If he's profiting off of it, I mean, he's made some pretty crazy claims. So an incident that happened with them, they were doing a show of arms protest, whatever you want to call it. I believe it was Louisville, Kentucky. They had 2 negligent discharges in one incident. So he comes out and he drops that video, which, you know, it's the one that I'm already making fun of him on there. If you want to check it out, it's pretty funny. Where he goes on there and he talks about his AR-15 he's had since 1990 and how if you bang it on the table, it'll go off, and motherfuckers have been getting their heads blown off and all that stuff every day in training boot camp in basic and all this crap, which is complete horse crap, dude. So here's the thing, my main issue with these guys, I mean, I think the majority of militias are ridiculous. That's my opinion. People are allowed to join up and congregate and whatever, as long as it's in a peaceful manner. People are allowed to have firearms as long as, you know, everything's legit. Second Amendment. I'm all for it. Pro-America. What I do get a kick out of, though, is when these guys are claiming that they're in the military at one point, or he was some sort of non-commissioned officer in the military. I believe he was trying to say he was an E8. I don't think so. But, you know, we'll dig into that more, because he's had a whole heap of trouble, domestics and all sorts of crap. There's no way in hell. But anyways, two negligent discharges. One of them, they actually shot somebody in their own group. I mean, that's pretty embarrassing. And all these guys are claiming they were, pipe hitters in the military at one point, which, hate to say it, a lot of people are full of shit. And usually the bigger the lie, the bigger the proof, whether that be negative or positive. If somebody had a huge accomplishment and pretty, is highly decorated and earned all those valorous awards and whatnot, they've got plenty of proof. If they're lying and there's complete bullshit about it, there's plenty of proof they're lying, because all these types of awards, a lot of them, there's a registry, there's an order of precedence, there's requirement, and a good conduct medal, 3 years, whatever. It's I see these guys wearing their bullshit Navy crosses. Come on, really? I mean, it's, or anybody lying about getting a silver star with Valor device. This guy, though, on the other hand, with his rank, claiming to be a ranger, come to find out he's just in the National Guard. No ranger school, not the tabs or scrolls. You guys can check it out. No DD-214. Some sort of domestic issue on base, got him arrested in some deep shit. And then at this Louisville, Kentucky protest or whatever this piece of garbage goes to, he actually pointed a rifle at a cop. Now he's doing 7 years. Just an all-around complete loser. But anyways, I'm gonna continue, frying this guy and making him famous for being a scumbag. He already does a great job of it on his own. So there's that amount of business there. Wow, what's the next one here? What was it? Alec Baldwin trial. So moving on to that moment, Alec Baldwin, apparently his attorneys are trying to have it thrown out. And, basically, from my understanding, I mean, his whole entire defense is going to be that it was Hannah Gutierrez Reed. She was the whole reason, her and Dave Allen, the second director guy or whatever. So, I mean, be prepared for that. There's going to be nothing, I mean, as far as evidence goes and whatnot, in this case, there's really not a whole lot that we don't already know about just because of the Hannah Reed Gutierrez case. So we'll see how that plays out. But her attorney, Bowles, he's actually already started the appeal process for her trial and her verdict or whatnot. Her sentencing is sometime later this month, I believe, or maybe it's the 1st of April, if I recall. I'll have to update that one as well. But that's just some more exciting stuff to take into consideration. The thing about all of it to me that just strikes me as incredibly odd, it's a manslaughter charge, so it was unintentional. Let's see, the assistant director, he got 6 months unsupervised probation because he owned it right then and there. Flat out said, I didn't do my job, I didn't do my safety check the way I should have, I'm at fault for part of this. 6 months, that's it. Hannah Reed, she was facing 18 months maximum. Makes me wonder if she would have just came forward and owned it on her part. Now, did she really do it? Nobody will ever know the truth. I mean, it's difficult in these, but as far as the jury's concerned, they found her guilty, and so that's what we go off of based off the system. But if she would have pled out, I wonder what would her sentence have been, because we know the maximum would have been 18 months, probably be out in 6. Alec Baldwin, I believe they offered him a plea agreement originally. I believe they redacted it. So we'll see how it goes from there on. One thing for certain, and I know it's an attorney strategy, when there's a criminal case like this, a lot of people will hurry and go out and file civil lawsuits because it slows down the whole process. So like Alec Baldwin, for instance, he had filed a lawsuit. Hannah Reed filed a lawsuit. There's probably 5 or 6 other people on the set that filed lawsuits in this whole ordeal for trauma and all sorts of things like that. And, as soon as the criminal charges were brought up, the people who were being charged, their lawsuits or civil suits or whatnot ended up being thrown out because now they're going to be going to court. They're the ones being charged. They're the ones that are going to be held accountable. So I don't know, interesting strategies I was reading on. So there's kind of the update on that. We'll see where it goes from there. I'm curious on account of, I guess the main thing about this whole ordeal is just the firearm safety aspect of it. Um, you've got people who are professional, and I don't care what anybody says. This is all opinion again. When it comes to firearms, it doesn't matter what the age of the adult is, from legally able to purchase and carry one all the way up until whatever. You're holding a firearm, you're responsible. That tool, or whatever you want to call it, device or means or whatnot, you're responsible, and you're accountable. Accept it. Anytime I pick up a firearm while it's in my hands, what I'm going to do with it, that is me. That is all responsibility. I check it, make sure it's not loaded. I check to make sure it's cleared. I don't point it at people. I keep my finger off the trigger. I check my surrounding areas and know what's going on around me. And that's the responsibility of it. It's not just pull out, cock it back, shoot, and everything's happy, fine, and dandy. It goes to some of the footage and clips that I've posted prior to this, and I put so much stress on it. And if you guys check, I have an entire playlist here on YouTube about negligent discharges and all the different types. And yes, I do parody in some of those, and I do have humor, but at the same time, it's the truth. I mean, the entire Hannah Gutierrez Reed court case or whatnot, while all those proceedings were going on, and it drove me nuts. And only one person corrected this the entire time on the news that I was watching. They kept saying accidental discharge. Accidental discharge, guys, is an anomaly. We're talking 99.99% never happens. Accidental discharge would be as if a gun were set down somewhere, nobody was around it, it went off and shot and killed somebody. That would be accidental. It's still negligent because you're setting a firearm down that's not, secured, safe, stored, whatever, or managed. But that's probably the closest I can come up with to an accidental discharge. Negligent discharge, on the other hand, is what happens all the time. Negligent discharge is Alec Baldwin with his finger on the trigger coming out from a cross straw. Negligent discharge is the girl loading the blanks in with her finger on the trigger, or dropping a hammer and playing with it, whatever the case may be. It's all negligence regardless in the long run. It's sad and unintentional, but it's negligent. And, the accountability aspect's something that I continue to focus on. With my kids, and my wife, and my family, it's just stressed firearm safety big time. But, my finger was never on the trigger. And that's the type of attitude of a person that is spineless. He's going to pass the buck, try to blame whoever else, when he should just own it. And he'd get so much more respect, and this thing would be over with, and that would be it. But I mean, how do you really honestly cover up or say you're not guilty when you waved a gun at somebody and shot two people, and then try to blame them for standing in front of that area at first? His whole, let's see, I don't know if it was the second or if it was the third or first, whatever, one of his police interviews with Officer Hooter's lady, he flat out says, well, they said cold gun, so I just assumed it. I've done this for 50 years in the movie industry. This type of stuff never happens. Well, in 50 years experience, Alec Baldwin right there just admitted that he knows better, that he should have checked it. Everybody is allowed to check that gun and do their due diligence. That is accountability. He then says, they said cold gun, and so nobody else was protected. They weren't using caution like they should. cold gun or not, you should still use caution. When you go into a gun store, if you want to look at a firearm, are you going to sit there and wave it around and point it at people, regardless if it's loaded or not? No, you don't. You never point a gun at anybody, even if it's unloaded. That's ridiculous, unless you're going to shoot them. So, you know, you want to play on that one. And if in 50 years of him handling firearms, I mean, how long does it take to hurry and click off six rounds to check right into the dirt next to your foot or whatever to check it? I mean, I don't understand that. It's ridiculous to me. Just all piss poor excuses and no accountability. Alec Baldwin, I mean, you know, first it's, I don't know, just how you can first blame the gun. The FBI comes back, does the testing on that, and said the only way that'll ever go off is beating it with a mallet, and it broke the gun afterwards, but that's the only way it fired. Other than that, for Mr. Baldwin to have had to have done it, he had to have pulled the trigger back, released the hammer, and set the round off. So you have that. Alec Baldwin, so finger on the trigger. Alec Baldwin didn't treat it like it's loaded. Alec Baldwin pointed it at something he did not wish or intend to kill or destroy. Alec Baldwin didn't check the surroundings in an area around it. I mean, every rule you can think of, he broke. And here's the funny kicker about that. If you break one of the safety rules of firearms, most of the time, nothing bad would happen. Like, if your finger was on the trigger, you weren't pointing it at somebody, you were pointing it down. You'd have a negligent, but it's shooting to the ground. Okay. If your finger's not on the trigger, but you pointed at somebody, you know, it's most likely not going to go off. It's still terrible practice. And that's just an example talking about. You don't treat it like it's loaded, but it is loaded. Well, if you don't do any of the other things, luckily it won't go off, more than likely, but still. I mean, you got to look at it from perspective, thinking, okay, you know, if I just do one, it's okay. No, or you could just do 0 and it's okay. So if one does happen, because people do make mistakes, you're not going to kill a person and injure another one. So, I mean, to break more than one rule is pretty negligent. You can't pass the buck on that. So there's the pieces in that part going forward. Oh, what else? We'll have some more comedy content coming out, and I'll keep doing with the. I'm almost done editing and doing the appendix carry, or hollows over balls, as we like to call it. My kids get a kick out of it when I say appendix carry. Yeah, I'll start laughing. But we'll go over that. We'll do some more gun maintenance. I haven't had any firearms have a malfunction lately, so I don't have any. I don't have to go find. I guess maybe go buy a cheap, you know, project gun or something just to do some of these things with. But we'll go from there. We'll do some maybe do some of my 1911 frames. Make another one of those. Polymer 80. I got a few of those left. Then I have a few for SIG, but as far as project guns go. But a lot of this stuff, you'll have to go to my Patreon, or you'll have to head over to Rumble, because YouTube doesn't allow firearms on lives, whereas to Rumble's awesome like that. Rumble, you know, we can shoot live at the range and actually do real, you know, when it's live and not cut and bullshit. Let's see, what other fun stuff has happened going on? Oh yeah, the fanny packs, the gun fanny packs. I'm still going to continue to make fun of everybody that wears those. It's a fanny pack, and you know, if it's supposed to be this discreet, concealed carry device or whatever, it's a fanny pack. And when I see dudes wearing them around their chest, it's pretty clear that they're probably carrying a gun. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you know, and I gotta call out Johnny Q too for being a douchebag like always. He's like the greatest at this. He's doing his let's time myself to see how fast I can draw out of my little fanny pack satchel thing or whatever. He starts the timer. He's got his hands right here. any normal person that's carrying, your hands are down to your sides. So like if your hand's already there, dude, I mean that's like no wonder he fucked up enough he's not a cop anymore. Let's put it that way. I'm gonna be blunt. I mean, it's just if people just eat that garbage up. I mean, it's just insane. They just love this dude, and you know, it's really funny. Is like one of the ladies on here commented on one of my things saying, "Yeah, that Johnny Q guy's not really a nice person. He's actually a pretty big douchebag in real life." And I thought, yeah, you know what? I could see that. He's all like super weird, nice, and creepy, but I don't know, Johnny. If you're gonna work on that quick draw, you got to get rid of the fanny pack, or you got to put your hands down to your sides like everybody else. If you're gonna try to be a badass, and quit saying you're John Wick, dude. That's tacky. So yeah, I'm a little salty towards that dude. I don't like him. I'll flat out say it. He's got awesome guns. He's got some cool shit, and you know, great for him for his success. But as far as his demonstrations and whatnot, total douche. Just total douche. Um, Let's see, other fun stuff going on here. We've got, you know, the never-ending gun grabbers who think I'm evil. I think I got called Satan a few times this week. What else? They also like to say that, you know, if you're buying a gun, it's because you have a small wiener. I don't know why they always got to go to pee-pee talk. I think that's pretty gross. So, you know, it makes you wonder what they're thinking about. But hey, whatever. Each their own, right? I just tell them, hey, dude, this is YouTube. This is a gun channel. This ain't Grinder. If you're into that, go over there. I'm straight and I'm married, bro. So that's just about it for the fact of the matter. We're at 21 minutes, and I think I've rambled enough for that. And we'll just move on over to Rumble now, guys, where we can go do some real shit. All right.